I came last week to Austin. I just moved from Little Rock, and I read poetry in Little Rock. And I wrote. Sometimes I sat outside and shot heroin, but I got over that, and I started writing more. And I did all I could do in Little Rock, and so I came here to Austin to try to share something with you guys. And I shared a little poetry last week, but then I met guys like Brian, and then motherfuckers had some cold-ass prose. So I got a little of that. Instead of writing autobi, whatever that word is, I drink bourbon and write about a fictional character named Ethan Blue, who some people think reminds them of me. When he was 11 years old, one of Judd's fondest pastimes was going through the stacks of hundreds of brightly colored comic books that he owned, picking them up one at a time and studying a few moments the style that they were drawn in, the lettering on the cover. Sometimes, if one made a significant impact on him for whatever reason, he would write the name of that one in a notebook he kept always close by. At that time, Judd had already a dozen notebooks like that, just long lists of titles of comic books that for some reason he found noteworthy. On the other days that Judd first met him, he'd been sitting on the couch drinking Dr. Pepper and eating English peas straight from the can. There were 6 stacks of comic books in front of, and he was watching a VHS copy of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. This was 2010. Nobody still had fucking VCRs. The door burst open, and there was Carrie in all of her splendor, 6 feet tall and blonde and built like Jessica Rabbit. She was the center of the universe. She had a strange power over men, but more than anything else, he knew that she had his back. In her right hand was a huge purse full of every other thing in the world and endless comic book money. She earned it hard, and a 40-year-old waitress at Gypsy's downtown. The sunlight washed around her, making her look like the Madonna, or at least an 80s video with a singer of the same name. In her right hand, she held takeout, the only kind of food that Judd ever knew about until he got married himself. "Hey, Judd," she said, her voice like Karo syrup, southern and sweet. "Hey," quietly. "This is Ethan. He wrote a book. He's going to sleep on the couch for a while." And that is where he would lay down, but often he'd be in Carrie's bed by morning. Bad dreams, Judd thought. She crossed the small living room and the kitchen to make the boy a plate, and he walked in. He was gray-bearded and a cowboy, and he looked crazy with a shiny Western-style jacket and boots. He carried one of the short glasses of Coke from Gypsy's where she worked, low and next to his side, holding the sweating glass by his fingertips. "Hello, Judd. I'm Ethan Blue." He had a kind of musty smell about it. "Are these all yours?" he asked, and they talked about comics for hours. For the next couple of years, Ethan Blue would be sort of a fixture in his life, sometimes living with him for a couple of weeks and others for a couple of months. Woo! Woo! So I write these Ethan Blue stories, and sometimes they seem similar to my memories, and sometimes there's shit I think about that might happen in the future. The gate, chained and locked, was a clear sign as to how much privacy was valued here. In this isolated place in this state where he lived until he'd been a teen, the scene just past its shocking contrast to everything he'd driven past on the highway. It was quite domestic looking. Through the windshield, he saw a cleared yard, a newer house trailer, and what looked like a vegetable garden out back before the yard met the woods again. After getting it out and walking up to the gate, he saw the lawn was well kept and there were shrubs planted here and there and a small flower bed trimmed in carefully picked stones. A movement caught his eye. A well-built, mocha-skinned woman in a denim work shirt stepped around the corner of the mobile home. She carried a pistol that looked like a six-shooter from an old movie. She held it loose in one hand, her arm relaxed at her side as she advanced. She walked straight towards him, neither fast nor slow, but in a deliberate manner, confident. He thought just for a second about jumping back in the car, running, leaping, slamming it into gear, and then peeling out backwards, slinging gravel as he left. Surely he would crash and burn, and then she would shoot him anyway. She looked the time. It was too late now, she was here. Put your hands in the fucking air, she said, firm, but not overly loud. She didn't shout. Her arm still hung loose from her shoulder, the heavy cowboy gun, both benign and threatening. Schrodinger's pistol. He raised his hands. What do you want? I want my name. What do you want? She said again, cutting him off. Is this the home of Mr. Ray? I'm looking for... She cut him off again. This time by pulling back the hammer of the pistol with her thumb. The metallic click of the cylinder turning. He had learned from 1,000 westerns. This time, it nearly made him piss himself. Still, she didn't lift it. Never pointed it at him. Never shouted. The Terriman brothers sent me. They said Mr. Ray knew Ethan Blue. The trailer door flew open, bounced back, and Jackie Ray caught it and then slammed it all the way back open again. He held it there and studied the situation a moment. He ever so slightly cocked his bald head and raised an eyebrow. He was naked to the waist, allowing Judd to see how thin and surprisingly muscular he was for a man his age. He was covered in tattoos ranging in subject from handguns to Jesus. He had a jailhouse picked rebel flag just above his navel and cracker in old English lettering above that. Everything about him looked like something that might be described as prison chic. But the thing that stood out the most were his eyes. Judd would never have said it out loud. But Dude's eyes were as pretty and blue as a little girl's. It was hypnotic to look directly at him. Y'all go on and put that pistol up. Leastways, set the hammer down gentle. Now, son, what do y'all know about Ethan Blue? My mama. I knew him when I was little. My mama loved him. I didn't really know him. I wanted to ask you about him. Everything went still and quiet, like just before the train noise of a tornado. Jude had no idea what was fixing to happen. I brought beer. a case of natural light. They said that you like natty ice. Nothing. Jude had no idea what was fixing to fucking happen. They gave me this to bring. He pulled a sandwich bag from the front of his pants, held it up so Jackie could see it. They gave me marijuana. They said you liked it. After a solid 2 count, longer than you'd fucking think. The inked up former convict smiled. Them boys is all right. Was it Lawrence or Dirk what sent it? No matter. He stood to his full height, stuck out his chest and said, ain't no Mr. Ray. My mama named me Jackie Ray. I got another last name. Now get that beer in here before it gets hot. Letting his arms down, Judd let loose a sigh of relief, turned, and walking over, he opened the corridor to get the beer and sat, sweating, in the back seat. The dark, pretty lady stuck the gun under her arm, clamping it there, next to her body, and worked the combination with both hands. Woo! Woo!